at the end of the program, we counted around like 500 families who have been helped along the years of like 2 or 3 years. It was quite kind of like learning point. We have helped that number of families.
This is Hourglass, the podcast for United Way of King County in Seattle. Coming up, we visit the Iraqi Community Center of Washington, a Kent-based organization that provides services and programs that help members of its community achieve self-sufficiency. United Way proudly supports the Iraqi Community Center of Washington and how it spends its time serving the nearly 5,000 Iraqi people who call our state home. We will also discuss United Way's Our Neighbor Fund and an upcoming Get Out the Vote event. I'm your host, Joe Burris. Thanks for tuning in. United Way of King County helps prepare preschool children for the classroom via Parent-Child Plus, a national early learning program that ensures kids, regardless of race, socioeconomic status, or zip code, have equal possibilities from the start. United Way implements Parent-Child Plus in collaboration with more than a dozen King County community partners. Among them is Iraqi Community Center of Washington, an organization launched in 1998 that provides programs, services, and resources to Iraqi residents of all age groups. Parent-Child Plus has been an enormous success in Washington's Iraqi community. Marva Sadiq, Iraqi Community Center's program manager, says that its program currently has a waiting list of parents seeking to enroll their children, and those who already have at least one child in the program are seeking to enroll their other children. But Sadiq says initially Parent-Child Plus wasn't a hit with parents in the Iraqi community. For starters, she says, while many parents enjoyed the books the program offered, such as Goodnight Moon, they wondered why weren't any of the books written in Arabic? And where were the stories about Iraqi culture, including tales of delicious foods that families enjoyed during Eid?
So we were able to connect with a local children books writer in Seattle. She's from Lebanon, and she makes beautiful cultural, books. So we partnered with her to get those books. And then also we've been finding a lot of more Arabic books. There's still huge need, and we hope to see more. But there have been some books about Ramadan or celebrating Eid or animals in Arabic. And I think this brought a huge, happiness into parents. The feedback is like, we need more of those, And that's when they really started believing and engaging in the program.
The more parents felt connected to Parent-Child Plus through their own culture, the more they began opening up about the everyday challenges they faced in the U.S. Many were unaware that Iraqi Community Center of Washington was created in 1998 to help Iraqi families adapt to their new homes. And as the state's Iraqi population has continued to increase, the Iraqi Community Center has grown itself to address people's needs.
So I had parents where I was talking to them about early learning, and they would reply back to me with like, I'm struggling with paying rent for this month.
Oh, no.
So it was really hard to, talk to them about something while there's a lot, going on in their head. And, they just want to survive, and they just want to meet their basic needs. That was really challenging. That was, really, really hard. So there was another opportunity for an early learning home visit program. And this time we had the opportunity to plan and design the program. And the first thing we put on there is that social service component.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So we're like early learning and social service, So we would go to the home and talk to the mom, like, how are you guys doing? What do you need? How can I support you? And then, when that relief is like, I need to enroll in ESL class. I need to find a job. And then, we would invite the child, sit, and do the early learning activities. So, we learned a lot as we go, and we continue to learn it from our community members.
Iraqi Community Center of Washington started in 1998 as an organization mainly focused on helping refugees and other new arrivals from Iraq become American citizens. Back then, its primary offerings were classes in citizenship and English as a second language. And early on, its founder, Yahya Al-Gharib, ran the organization out of his Seattle apartment. Al-Gharib said funding from organizations like United Way of King County helped Iraqi Community Center of Washington grow. But then some agencies requested he relocate to Kent to serve a growing Iraqi population in South Seattle. For a while, that meant he had to run the organization out of his car.
From there, so I can have office, so I can be in the office sometime. But at the time I use it, I build more relationship with the new arrival. Mm-hmm. I know I was doing mostly reach out the community, go to them home, explain to them what we're doing. If I need to help them something, we need copies, so I have to get them document. I have to go to any stores, sometime go to the mall, the library in the South Center.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. Just make copy for the document for everything. So they don't have it, but before, like I said, Fred Meyer, they have, the 10 cents or 15 cents to make copy. So have to make copy for them, document what I need, and then back to them, give them document and fill the application and mail it to any Section 8 housing for the DSHS or paperwork.
Today, Iraqi Community Center is located in an expansive office in Kent, enough to staff a case manager and provide personalized services to up to 15 people each day, addressing issues such as housing and homelessness prevention, family law, and school issues. It also offers after-school programs, employment services, healthcare resources, and a senior village program that brings together senior Iraqi refugees and immigrants to provide a sense of community. And their organization is called the Iraqi Center of Washington because it reaches Iraqis statewide, from Everett to Vancouver, Washington, to Yakima to Spokane, even some communities in Oregon. For Al-Gharib, what began as an organization with a broad vision but limited resources has become a one-stop shop for the Iraqi community and an opportunity to help people feel more at home.
We find office and then we grow in little with the different office. In the same building, we get a couple office. What I did, I try hard to make it feel home. Mm-hmm. I try to mix kind of the work, the system here, and the culture back home. Mm-hmm. It's hard sometimes to adapt to culture. When you have your own home and then you move to different place, especially a lot of family, they come, or just husband and wife, or just single mom or single dad or single people, and they still have a lot of family back there. We're trying to make it much we can for family. When they come to our office, they feel home.
Among those for whom the organization has been like home is Mohammed Akhmush, who came to this area as a refugee in 2016 and through volunteering at the Iraqi Community Center was able to find housing, enroll his children in school, and land his first job. While volunteering at the Iraqi Community Center, Akhmush also helped people find housing, and later on he answered the center's call to return as an employee, leading its homelessness prevention program. Akhmush said that housing is the biggest concern among families who visit the Iraqi Community Center of Washington.
As a community, we tend to have an invisible housing crisis because, to me, when I worked as a homelessness prevention specialist, I was informed that, data didn't show that Arabic-speaking families in King County are suffering from housing crisis, or people are homeless, or where is this challenge? It didn't show, in terms of numbers, and people didn't know, at program level that our families, take the challenge internally. People are doubling up. People are like not even aware that certain resources are there to support them. So families are taking the challenge on their own, and we have our own community ways to support internally. But that didn't help the program to figure out or to recognize that there is an issue here also. These families are facing this, crisis in terms of like housing. So, when I work with families, I started like even teaching families that when you are doubled up, you are considered, when you are asked based on the program eligibility requirement, when you are asked, are you homeless now? You don't feel shy or like don't feel, because of the culture and the people feel embarrassed, and the first answer for that question, no. Yeah, and people think about homelessness as someone who is in the street or like certain kind of like cultural perspective about homelessness that didn't help the program to capture the reality and the numbers of the families who are facing the challenge in terms of like paying their rents and or even leaving their units because they didn't afford the rent.
How have you been able to work to solve that?
It took both, it took an education on both sides for families and for also the program managers at the county level, because explaining the situation for program managers will definitely make a little bit challenging to consider these families as at the edge of homelessness. They are facing the crisis, about to be homeless. And they need that kind of support, which is which the program provides. But when some of the families that I served went to other organizations led by mainstream providers who may not understand the cultural nuances. When they at the first initial stage during the screening stage for eligibility, our families tend to be shut down and considered as ineligible for this housing support. And it was quite learning opportunity for me and for families and for the program managers. And honestly, like at the end of the program, we counted around like 500 families who have been helped along the years of like 2 or 3 years. It was a quite kind of like learning point. We have helped that number of families. And these families wouldn't be helped without, navigating the system itself, understanding the cultural context of the community, and also kind of like educating and informing families in a partnership, that trust, that extra bridge of trust that we represent as community providers. We are from the community, we have the same experiences, and we know what these families went through.
Sure.
And that helped a lot for everyone, I think in my experience, lots of the programs, when it comes to, visibility of our Middle Eastern and North African communities and families, especially with the focus my focus was on Arabic-speaking families. I think lots of challenges still invisible, still needs that kind of like partnership among program, even in the process of drafting the programs, even adjusting or like changing the program eligibility requirements to be inclusive, to to engage our communities and families in an appropriate way. I think it's time to act on system level, on programs level, county level, to include more of the voices of our communities, to be involved in the initial stages of drafting programs, not only being recipients for services, but also be our families, our voices should be included in the early stages of, how to plan this or that program, because it's valuable. It will help us and the people at the county level if we are included in action steps of each and every program.
Helping address concerns as housing and early learning helps the folks at Iraqi Community Center of Washington foster and spread hope. Helping address concerns such as housing and early learning helps the folks at Iraqi Community Center foster and spread hope. Sadiq says that spirit applies when the center screens job applicants. It focuses less on academic credentials and more on people's passion for helping others.
We encourage them to volunteer or to just come and see what we do, and if they're interested, we will walk them through a lot of trainings, a lot of job shadowing to see how the work is done.
What is that like in a country that puts so much emphasis on
Right.
college degree?
Yes.
What is it like?
That's great because I see I worked for a lot of nonprofits here in Seattle, and then every time I would leave, I would say, if I was a manager, I would not do this, And now I'm in a position when I'm looking at our staff and, yes, I had that opportunity. So just having that mentality of you don't need a degree, and now I see it in a lot of nonprofits or a lot of funders now. They're doing this, and I just feel so proud. We started this a while back, And I remember this one quote I heard or I saw at a training. The world does not need more successful people. They need more people with heart. So there you go.
For more information about Iraqi Community Center of Washington, log on to irccw.org. Our neighbors are doing their best to keep food on the table, but it's not been easy. During the COVID-19 pandemic, grocery prices rose to their biggest increase in 50 years. Most of the federal dollars that addressed the food crisis during the pandemic are gone, but grocery bills remain high. That's why United Way of King County has launched the Our Neighbor Fund to invest in strategies that will feed families in the coming year. Our Neighbor Fund will help expand our home grocery program to provide 5,000 families with free groceries each week. And it will help an additional 100 schools in King County implement the Breakfast After the Bell program, impacting 49,000 students. We're asking you to please make a gift to the Our Neighbor Fund so that we can serve more of our neighbors. For more information or to make a donation, log on to uwkc.org/donate. Join us for the civic engagement event, Get Out the Vote, Your Voice Matters, at the Langston Hughes Performing Arts Institute in Seattle on September 25th at 6 p.m. Co-hosted by YPC Seattle, United Way of King County's Emerging Leaders 365, Seattle Metro Chamber's Young Professionals Network, and Young Nonprofit Professionals Network. The event will feature discussions with local and civic leaders about the critical role of voting, the significance of local elections, and key issues on the ballot. For more information, log on to uwkc.org/events. At United Way of King County, we are working side by side with communities to build an equitable future for everyone. Hourglass United Way is a podcast that highlights how we and our partners spend time making a difference in our communities. Our work is made possible by the generous donations from people like you. Please send comments and suggestions about our podcast to hourglassunitedway@gmail.com. To learn more about our work or to support United Way, log on to uwkc.org. I'm your host, Joe Burris. Thanks for listening. Until next time.